Imagine walking into a dusty thrift store and pulling out a leather jacket that feels like it was made just for you, and knowing that one cheap find could change your style, your wallet, and the planet. That moment of discovery is the spark behind a movement that's reshaping how we think about fashion, furniture, and even technology. It's not just about hunting for a bargain. It's about giving new life to items that would otherwise sit in a landfill, and in the process, rewriting the rules of consumption. I still remember the first time I found a vintage coat in a corner rack. Its fabric soft from years of use. Its color exactly the shade I'd been dreaming of.
I slipped it on, and for a few seconds I felt unstoppable, as if the coat carried stories of the past and possibilities for the future.
That was my aha moment, the point where I realized that secondhand shopping could be more than a hobby. It could be a powerful tool for change. Today, sustainability is no longer a niche conversation. The term circular economy is popping up in boardrooms, classrooms, and on social media feeds, describing a system where products are kept in use for as long as possible, then return to the cycle instead of becoming waste. Second-hand shopping sits at the heart of that idea, turning the old into the new, the discarded into the desired. By the end of this video, you'll understand 3 big benefits of buying used, learn how to spot quality gems,
and discover the top places, both online and offline, where you can start hunting.
Let's begin with the biggest reason people are turning to thrift: the planet. The fashion industry is a massive polluter. Every year, it wastes 92 million tons of textile waste, and the production of a single kilogram of cotton can consume 2,700 liters of water. Those numbers sound abstract until you picture mountains of discarded clothing piling up in landfills, releasing methane and other greenhouse gases as they decompose. Fast fashion fuels this cycle by encouraging us to buy cheap, low-quality items that are meant to be worn a handful of times before being tossed. Second-hand shopping flips that script. When you buy a pre-loved piece, you're essentially saying no to new production, which means fewer raw materials are extracted, fewer chemicals are released, and less energy is spent on manufacturing. Think of it as a simple equation. Reuse equals 0 new production. If everyone bought just one second-hand item per month, we could cut global textile waste by a staggering percentage, keeping countless garments out of the trash and reducing carbon emissions dramatically. A quick visual helps. Picture a landfill overflowing with piles of fabric, then cut to a bustling thrift store where racks are filled with colorful, well-maintained items. The contrast is stark, and it shows how extending a product's life can transform waste into opportunity. The key is to focus on quality over fleeting trends. Natural fibers like cotton, wool, and linen, as well as solid construction double stitching, sturdy buttons, and intact zippers are signs that a piece will last. I once met a college student who decided to swap out his entire wardrobe for second-hand finds.
Over the course of a year, he saved enough money to fund a study abroad program, and his carbon footprint shrank by 200 kilograms of carbon dioxide.
That's the kind of impact a single conscious decision can have when it's multiplied across thousands of shoppers.
Saving the planet is amazing, but there's another huge win: your wallet. Let's talk about the economics of secondhand shopping.
A brand new denim jacket can cost $80 at a retail store, while a comparable piece in a thrift shop might be priced at $12.
That's a difference of $68 for essentially the same function and style.
Multiply that savings across an entire wardrobe, and you're looking at hundreds, even thousands of dollars that can be redirected toward experiences like travel, education, or investing in higher quality pieces that truly last.
There's also a psychological benefit: the thrill of the hunt.
The 80-20 rule suggests that 80% of your wardrobe can be built for 20% of the price, if you know where to look. It's not just about spending less, it's about spending smarter. I bought a vintage watch for $30 a few years ago, and today it appraises at $300. That kind of appreciation isn't common with fast fashion items, but it's a real possibility when you seek out timeless designs and well-preserved condition.
Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about the impact of second-hand shopping on both the environment and your personal finances?
Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious about your perspective. When you start looking for quality, there are a few simple guidelines. First, examine the fabric. Natural fibers tend to age better than synthetics, and they breathe, making them more comfortable. Second, check the seams and hardware. Double stitching, reinforced corners, and sturdy zippers are signs of durability. Third, smell the item. A faint, clean scent is a good sign, while strong odors may indicate hidden damage or poor storage. Finally, consider the story behind the piece. Items that have been well cared for often carry a history that adds character. A faded denim that has lived a life, a leather bag with patina tells a tale.
That narrative can make the item feel uniquely yours, something you can't replicate with a brand new, mass-produced product. If this is blowing your mind, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep exploring together.
In the next part, we'll dive into the best places, both online platforms and brick-and-mortar shops, where you can start your secondhand adventure, and share some insider tips on how to score the biggest deals without compromising on quality. Stay tuned. All right, let's dive straight into the treasure map of secondhand hunting grounds. Imagine you're standing at the crossroads of a bustling city street, a quiet suburban neighborhood, and the endless digital highways that connect buyers and sellers across the globe. Each of those paths holds its own secret stash of hidden gems, and knowing where to look can turn a casual browse into a full-blown treasure hunt. First, let's talk about the online universe. The beauty of the internet is that it compresses entire neighborhoods, entire towns, even entire countries into a single searchable feed. One of the most popular platforms is a marketplace that started as a simple auction site but has evolved into a massive hub for everything from vintage denim to rare vinyl. The key to success there is to master the art of the keyword search. Instead of typing generic terms, try adding specific details like the decade, the material, or even the original brand name. For example, a phrase like late 70s leather bomber jacket will pull up far fewer results, but those results are far more likely to match what you're after. And don't forget to set your price alerts. Most sites let you save a search and receive a notification the moment a new listing drops within your budget. That way you're not constantly refreshing the page, and you can pounce the moment a perfect piece appears. Another powerhouse is a mobile-first app that feels like a blend of social media and a boutique shop. Sellers post photos of their items, add a short description, and set a price that often undercuts traditional retail by a wide margin. The community vibe is strong, and many users develop a reputation score based on how quickly they ship items and how accurately they describe them. When you see a seller with a high rating and a history of positive feedback, you can feel confident that the item you're eyeing is exactly as shown. A tip here is to follow a few curated accounts that specialize in the style you love, whether that's streetwear, high-end designer, or retro sportswear. Their feeds become a curated gallery of potential finds, and you'll start to notice patterns in what sells quickly, which can inform your own buying strategy. If you're after a more curated, boutique-like experience, there are platforms that focus exclusively on pre-owned luxury goods. These sites employ a team of experts who authenticate each piece before it goes live, so you can shop with peace of mind, knowing that the designer handbag you're about to add to your cart isn't a counterfeit. The price points are higher than a typical thrift find, but the quality assurance and the fact that you're extending the life of a high-craft item make it a win-win. Look for seasonal sales or clearance sections on these sites. They often discount items by a significant percentage to make room for new inventory, and you can snag a genuine designer piece for a fraction of its original price. Don't overlook the community-driven platforms that operate more like a digital garage sale. These are often organized around local neighborhoods, where people list items they no longer need, ranging from furniture to clothing to quirky collectibles. The advantage here is the possibility of meeting the seller in person, which lets you inspect the item up close, negotiate a better price, and even avoid shipping costs altogether. When you arrange a meetup, pick a public place, bring a friend if you feel uneasy, and always inspect the item thoroughly before handing over cash. A quick tip is to bring a small portable scale if you're buying heavier items like books or electronics. That way you can verify the weight matches the description, which can be a clue to authenticity. Now, let's step out of the digital realm and onto the streets where the real-world hunt begins. Thrift stores are the classic go-to, and they come in many flavors. Some are run by charitable organizations, others are independent vintage shops, and a few are pop-up events that appear only a few weeks a year. The key to mastering thrift is timing. Many stores receive new shipments on a regular schedule, often on a specific day of the week or month. If you can learn that schedule, you'll be among the first to sift through fresh inventory before the most coveted pieces are snatched up. Arriving early, even before the doors officially open, can give you a head start, especially on days when a new shipment is expected. Another hidden gem is the consignment boutique. These shops operate on a model where you bring in your gently used items and the store sells them on your behalf, taking a commission. Because they're selective about what they accept, the overall quality tends to be higher than a typical charity shop. Walking through a consignment boutique feels like strolling through a curated gallery. Each rack is thoughtfully arranged, and the staff often have a deep knowledge of the brands they carry. If you're looking for a specific designer piece, ask the staff if they have a waiting list or a "notify me when available" system. Many boutiques keep a database of items they're actively seeking, and they'll reach out if something matching your request arrives.
Flea markets and swap meets are another arena where the thrill of the hunt truly shines.
These events bring together a diverse crowd of vendors, each with their own eclectic mix of items.
The atmosphere is lively, the music is often upbeat, and the bargaining culture is alive and well.
When you're navigating a flea market, it helps to have a clear idea of what you're after, but also to stay open to serendipity.
You might walk in looking for a vintage denim jacket and walk out with a mid-century modern lamp that perfectly complements your living room aesthetic.
The art of negotiation is essential here. Start with a friendly smile. Ask about the item's history, and then propose a price that feels fair. Vendors often appreciate a respectful approach and may be willing to lower the price if they sense genuine interest. Estate sales are a slightly different beast. These are typically organized when a homeowner is downsizing, moving, or after a loved one passes away. The inventory can range from furniture to fine art, to boxes of old records. Because the items are often being sold en masse, you can sometimes negotiate a bulk discount if you're interested in multiple pieces. Arriving early again gives you the best chance to see the most valuable items before they're taken. If you're not sure what to look for, bring a notebook and jot down any pieces that catch your eye, then research them later. Many estate sales also have a no haggling policy, but you can still ask about price reductions on items that have been on the floor for a while.
Don't forget the power of the good old garage sale.
These neighborhood events are often posted on community boards, social media groups, or even on a simple piece of cardboard in a front yard.
The charm of a garage sale lies in its informal nature. Sellers are usually more flexible on price, and you can often walk away with a great deal if you're willing to be patient.
A useful strategy is to arrive mid-morning, after the early birds have already taken the best items, but before the crowd thins out. Bring a reusable bag, a bottle of water, and a willingness to dig through boxes and bins. Sometimes the real treasure is hidden under a pile of old magazines. Now that we've covered the landscape of where to find secondhand gems, let's dive into the practical tactics that will help you score the biggest deals without compromising on quality. The first rule of any successful hunt is to set a clear budget. Knowing how much you're willing to spend prevents impulse purchases that can quickly erode the financial benefits you're after. Write down your budget on a piece of paper or a note on your phone, and stick to it.
If you see an item that's slightly above your limit but you love it, give yourself a cooling-off period of a few days.
Often, the initial excitement fades, and you'll realize you can walk away without regret. Second, develop a checklist for evaluating condition. When you pick up a piece, run your fingers over the fabric or material. Feel for any rough spots, pilling, or thinning. Look at the seams, double stitching, reinforced corners, and sturdy hardware are hallmarks of durability. For leather items, check for cracks, stains, or excessive wear on the edges. If you're dealing with electronics or appliances, test them on the spot if possible. Plug in a vintage turntable, turn on a secondhand camera, or a small kitchen gadget. A quick functional test can save you from a costly repair later. For clothing, try it on if the store allows. Pay attention to how it drapes on your body, whether the shoulders sit correctly, and if the length feels right. A well-fitted piece will look better and last longer. Third, consider the provenance of the item. Ask the seller about its history if they're willing to share. A piece that has been well cared for, stored properly, and perhaps even restored, often carries a story that adds value beyond its material worth. For example, a denim jacket that has been hand-washed and stored on a wooden hanger will likely retain its shape and color better than one that has been tossed in a dryer repeatedly. When you learn about the journey of an item, you also gain insight into how it was treated, which can inform your decision. Fourth, leverage the power of timing and seasonality. Certain items are more abundant at specific times of the year. Winter coats, for instance, flood the market after the holiday season when people clear out closets. Summer dresses and swimwear become plentiful in the late summer months as retailers make room for new inventory. By aligning your shopping with these cycles, you can find high-quality pieces at deep discounts. Keep an eye on local store calendars, community newsletters, and even social media posts that announce upcoming sales or donation drives.
Fifth, don't be afraid to negotiate, but do it respectfully. Start by complimenting the item. People love to hear that you appreciate the craftsmanship or the unique style.
Then, ask if the price is firm. Often, sellers have a little wiggle room, especially if the item has been on the shelf for a while. If you're buying multiple items from the same vendor, bundle them together and propose a modest discount. For example, you could say, "I love this jacket and the scarf. Would you consider a small reduction if I take both?"
Most sellers are happy to close a sale rather than watch an item sit unsold.
Sixth, think about the long-term value of the piece. Some items, especially those from iconic designers or limited edition releases, can appreciate over time. If you have an eye for trends and a willingness to research, you can build a small portfolio of resale-ready pieces. This approach turns second-hand shopping into a low-risk investment strategy. Keep a record of purchase dates, prices, and any notable features. Over the years, you may find that a well-preserved vintage watch or a classic leather bag becomes a coveted collector's item,
allowing you to recoup your investment or even make a profit.
Seventh, expand your network. Join local swapping groups, online forums, and social media communities dedicated to thrifting and resale.
These groups often share tips about upcoming sales, hidden stash locations, and even exclusive discount codes.
By participating actively, posting your own finds, offering advice, and engaging in friendly conversation, you become a known member of the community. In many cases, members will give you first dibs on new arrivals or alert you to a rare piece that just before it disappears. Eighth, practice patience and persistence. The best finds rarely appear on the first pass. You may need to visit a store multiple times, refresh an online feed daily,
or attend several market days before you stumble upon that perfect leather satchel or the vintage band tee you've been dreaming of.
Treat each outing as a learning experience. Over time, you'll develop an intuition for which racks hold the hidden gems, which sellers consistently offer quality, and which neighborhoods host the most generous donation drives.
Now, let's bring all these ideas together with a real-world scenario that illustrates how a thoughtful approach can transform a simple shopping trip into a rewarding adventure.
Imagine you're planning a weekend trip to a nearby city known for its vibrant art scene. You decide to allocate a portion of your budget to refresh your wardrobe for the trip, but you want to keep costs low and the style unique. You start by checking a popular mobile app the night before, setting a price alert for vintage denim jacket under $50.
The next morning, you receive a notification, a dark indigo jacket from the early 80s, listed at $45, with clear photos showing minimal wear.
You message the seller, ask a few quick questions about the condition of the zippers, and arrange a meetup at a local coffee shop. While you're on your way, you swing by a well-known thrift store that receives new donations every Thursday. You know from past visits that the back wall often holds a curated selection of higher-end pieces.
You walk the aisles, scanning the racks, and spot a pair of classic leather boots that fit your size perfectly.
You examine the stitching, test the soles, and notice a faint but pleasant leather scent, signs of good care.
The price tag reads $30, well below the retail price of a comparable new pair.
You decide to purchase both items, staying within your budget and adding two standout pieces to your travel wardrobe.